break. I'm Josh Potensky. I'm here with my co-host, Moses Nunez Jr.
How you doing, Josh?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Got a lot of stuff to talk about this
We
week.
do have a lot of stuff to talk about. I mean, you didn't dress for the occasion, though.
Yeah, well, see, the thing is, I wanted to say how since the Islanders are now in Brooklyn, the Mets are the only team with blue and orange. And
I'm not wearing the blue and orange jersey.
Who was the first team that came?
The Nets.
No, I'm saying between the Mets and the Islanders.
The Nets.
The Nets?
Yeah.
The net between the Islanders and Mets.
Wait, what do you?
Between the Mets and the Islanders, which New York team came first?
The Mets.
Okay. So we own these colors. All right? And the reason why it's blue and orange isn't because the Islanders want to take it like they normally take everything, but it's the orange of the Giants and the blue of the Dodgers.
Yes.
So we own those colors. You guys don't.
And then we also stole these colors from the Nets.
Yeah, I know. Typical. So, yes, I didn't dress for the occasion. However, I am giving you guys bad luck for tonight.
We'll talk about that in a little later. First, your football predictions are just always the best. So,
Undefeated. I am the Vikings of predictions.
well, we have the Giants, who lost, of course.
Yeah.
It was a tough. I think it was a tough loss for them.
Yeah, I mean, you have great two great teams. You know,
I wouldn't really consider the Giants great, but they're definitely not as bad as a 2-3 record.
no, but they should be better. There were some wins that you could see, like the Vikings game that they had last week. That was understandable, because the Vikings are actually predicted to take the Super Bowl this year. And they've been on a tear, and they're the only undefeated team left in the NFL. Understandable. The Packers always show up. It's like the Jets versus the Patriots. No matter what, the Jets always show up during the Patriots. They can go 0-15, and week 17, I should say, if they face the Patriots again, they always find a way to win against the Patriots at least once in this season. So it happens, and it's disappointing, but
It is, but I mean, they're playing the Ravens this week. They're 3-2. Giants, of course, are 2-3, like we just said. Who's gonna win?
Surprisingly, I'm gonna put my money on the Giants this week.
I hope so.
We're gonna see what happens. I mean, they're on a 2-game losing streak. You got Eli Manning that's frustrated. Odell Beckham Jr., aka Terrell Owens Jr., finally making up with the net. And I think that they're gonna get frustrated because the Ravens and Giants, they always play good against each other.
They do always play.
It's not a rivalry, but it feels like it could be one. Like it could be.
Feel it.
Yeah. And the Ravens, their defense is actually they're pretty good, but Joe Flacco, he's not really doing anything for me this season. So honestly, I think the Giants are going to win. I don't know what the point spread is. I believe it could be 7 or 10.5.
So it's gonna be. So they're saying it's gonna be a close.
It's going to be a close game. Yeah.
So what about the Jets? They're gonna lose Monday night against the Cardinals. I mean, you gotta. Is Carson Palmer still out?
No, he's actually expected to play.
He is. I gotta fix my fantasy then.
Yeah, excuse me. I dropped Fitzpatrick, and I picked up Andy Dalton.
It's not bad.
With Carson Palmer and Andy Dalton, it's all right. But I think Carson Palmer is going to show up this week. I think the Jets' defense, they're slowly digressing.
I don't think the Jets' defense was that good to begin with.
Well, they were actually a great defense. They have an amazing defensive line. They got some young guys. They made moves during the offseason. And on paper, this team should have been, at best, 11-4. I mean, not 11-4. Sorry, 12-4. They should be. But
they already have 4 losses.
Well, yeah. So now they got to win 10 more games, and then But the thing is, their first 6 weeks, they were facing teams that are Super Bowl champions in this generation and playoff contending teams. So if they didn't win, like for example, Cincinnati Bengals, granted they've never won under Marvin Lewis. They have never won a playoff game, but they always find a way to get into the playoffs. They should have won that game. The Jets won that game, but they just lost to the Bengals. They faced Steelers, Chiefs. Steelers have been champions in the last, generation or so. The Chiefs they haven't won a Super Bowl in a while, but they are always a team to be a force to be reckoned with at home. And they had the Seahawks. They just recently won a few years ago. They went back to the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. So it's going to be hard for them. Like, I didn't expect them. They should have been good, but you can't. Me saying that they're 12-4, that's just the fan in me. But realistically, they should be 10-6.
Well, I mean, we'll see. It's still early.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's move on. So, last night was opening night. Before we start talking about tonight's game, let's talk about yesterday.
Okay.
So Austin Matthews, I don't know if you know, he was the first overall pick this year.
Yeah.
He's 19 years old because he missed the cutoff by like a few days. Mm-hmm. He scored 4 goals last night. Now, the Leafs did lose 5-4 in overtime.
Yeah.
But he scored all 4 goals and scored 3 goals on his first 3 shots in the NHL. What do you think about that?
That's impressive.
Yeah.
I mean,
this kid's supposed to be like the next, they say this like every other year.
Yeah, see, that's the thing.
But this is the best part though. He's American. Oh. He's not a Canadian.
Well, it's about time we got somebody that's good. I mean, we got this. The Rangers have this one kid that's everyone was going crazy about. Everyone was going crazy about him, and they wanted to sign him, and then the Rangers picked him up. And he's the new.
I forget his name.
I forgot his name. He'll probably be playing on the 4th line tonight. But he's supposed to be the next best thing. They said that he was gonna be the next Messier, and I'm like, wait, this kid just started. Give him time.
They said that with Sidney Crosby. They said that with John Tavares. They said that with.
All right.
I'm sorry. I want to kill myself. I just put Sidney Crosby and John Tavares in the same sentence.
They are in the same sentence, though. That's the thing. They're top scorers. They're with Ovi. They're with these top-notch.
Ovechkin's a different kind of player. Ovechkin's just a goal scorer.
Yeah.
Tavares is more of an all-around player.
He's an all-around player, but he mainly gets goals.
Yes.
He's a great playmaker, but he makes goals.
Crosby is more of an all-around.
He's also all-around, but he
scores
goals. They all score goals. I mean, it's like the Rangers expect they expect Lundqvist to be everything for them, to be the goalie, to be the left wing, to be the defensive mid. They expect everything out of him.
He is their player, though.
He is their player, but we need a scorer. That's the thing. We need someone that can score.
Think about the Islanders, though. I mean, outside of Tavares, they don't really have a big-time goal scorer.
You guys had Clutterbuck.
Clutterbuck's not a goal scorer.
Yeah, well, he set up.
He's a 4th liner that will maybe get 15.
I thought he was a first liner.
No, Cal Clutterbuck was the 4th line.
Wow.
The last season, their best 4th line in all of hockey was Matt Martin. Unfortunately, now he's on the Maple Leafs. Let's not talk about that. Casey Zizekas and Cal Clutterbuck, best 4th line in hockey.
I mean, yeah, you guys did have a really great 4th line. But what about Oposo?
Oposo signed with Buffalo.
Buffalo
Buffalo for Kyle Oposo. Franz Nielsen went to Detroit. Matt Martin went to Toronto.
I'm sorry, but losing all those guys, it's going to be tough.
I think they're going to still be a better team.
Oh yeah, you guys have great. It's not like you traded these great players for a goon.
No.
You know what I mean? It was like you traded these guys for guys that are good. We traded Hagelin for this random guy named Edom.
He's horrible. I'm sorry, but he's so bad.
Statistically speaking, they were Edom was better.
Hagelin's not even doing that well though now either.
Yeah, but he's got a ring. That's all that matters.
That's true.
And it's only the season just started.
Yeah.
It's not like it's not like we're in May and we're like, all right, well, Hagelin had this amount of goals, this amount of points. It just started.
Well, I mean, the Islanders they did get Andrew Ladd, who's not that bad, but he's no Kyle Oposo. They also signed. He used to play with the Rangers. Remember P.A. Parent though? Yeah. Okay. I don't know if you know the Islanders signed him over the summer.
No, I didn't know.
All right, so they signed him. That year when he played with Tavares and Parent had one of their best seasons. Mm-hmm. PA has a horrible camp. So what do? They release him. He's then claimed by the Devils, which really is irrelevant, but doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean,
and then their two 19-year-olds, Barzell and I forget how to say his name, Anthony Bevelier, something like that. They're both 19, and they both make the team. Why would you rush your 19-year-old players? The Islanders have done this so much in the past, and it never panned out, and now they're doing it all again when they're actually a playoff contender.
Because it's a risk. It's a calculated risk. I mean, we were in the Stanley Cup in, 2014? And everyone's like, yeah, next year the Rangers are going to win it. And at first, we were doing horrible. And then we had towards the end of the All-Star, we had a President's Trophy worthy team, but then we didn't show up the following year. Like, we showed up, but it wasn't our best. Then we did all right last year. We just squeaked by, and we got eliminated in the first round.
I mean,
it's all calculated.
Well, the way I look at it too, though, is so rookies have 9 games. If they don't play 9 games, if they play more than 9 games, then it counts as a contract year.
Yeah.
So now what I'm worried about, if they both play the 9 games, they don't do well, you're now sending them back to juniors, and now you don't get to call them back up for another year. What do you, it just doesn't make sense to me. You signed a first liner to play with your best player, and then you just cut him.
There's a lot of things we don't know. I mean, this Brassard trade, I'm hoping.
I don't think that was a bad trade.
I think it was pretty bad. Brassard hasn't really done anything yet because he's young still. He's not young, but he's still relatively young for a hockey player.
It's true.
You have guys, like my problem with the Rangers is they still have these old geezers like Dan Girardi, Dan Boyle.
I thought Dan Boyle left.
No, is it the other Boyle?
Brian Boyle was traded.
All right, so it's Dan Boyle. Dan Boyle's still with us. It's Girardi, Boyle, Nash. And
Nash is not. I think Nash is definitely making too much money. That's his problem. But he's still a very good player.
He's a good player,
he's
but
just not consistent.
Since 2014 when we got him, or whenever we got him, right? He was scoring in 2014. He was doing good in 2015. Well, actually, no, he wasn't. He was pretty quiet towards the end of the season is when he started scoring. But the thing is, my problem with him it's not only just his pay, but yeah, you could do that during the season. You can score and have 15 goals and do this and do that and have an amazing season. But why are you always quiet during the playoffs? Every playoff game we've been in, he's always quiet. There was one point 2 years ago with Martin St. Louis and Rick Nash who were dominating the Metropolitan Division with scores aside from Tavares, Crosby, and Ovi. It was Nash tearing it up. And who had assists with him? St. Louis. But St. Louis had goals within himself too. St. Louis didn't score until our elimination game.
St. Louis is still one of my favorite players.
Oh, I still have my jersey. But, he was quiet. Same thing with Nash. Nash was quiet last season. Nash was quiet in the playoffs. Where was he? And you still have a defense that's great. But look, Girardi's getting slower. He can't handle, you know what I mean? Like, Lundqvist is getting 30 to 35 shots on him
But Lundqvist is getting old too.
Exactly.
You can't rely on him.
You can't.
No.
And we had Cam Talbot, which another thing that pisses me off about the Rangers organization. We had Cam Talbot.
He was
a hell of a player. He's the reason why we just had that resurgence. After Lundqvist went down, the team. All right, the first 2 games.
I'm sorry, I'm cutting you off.
It's all right.
I've been saying this for at least a year or two now. It's time for the Rangers to move on with Henrik Lundqvist.
Yes.
I'm not just saying it because I'm an Islanders fan.
No, you're right.
I'm saying it because this is the time where he has the most value, and he only has another year or 2 left.
Exactly.
Because goalies don't usually play until, unless you're like
35.
Yeah, unless you're like Brodeur or like Dominic Hasek. When do you ever see a goalie play over the age of 40?
Never.
At an elite level.
Well, how old was Richter when he retired?
He was about 40,
Okay.
39.
And DiPietro?
Let's not talk about that. That's a completely different story.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, you're right. Like they should really focus on, getting a new goaltender. Like they had it with Cam Talbot, but hey, he doesn't want to take a pay cut, or no, the story was he wants to take a pay cut, but they want to get rid of him to open cap space. But you get rid of your future. Why are you getting rid of your future? You want to eliminate cap space? Drop everyone that's above the age or below the age of, not below the age, but drop everyone that's either 34 or up. You want a young team. That's our problem. The Rangers are a young team mixed with old people that are old. They're not veterans. They're old.
See, what I like about the Islanders, though, and again, this is not really the fan in me. It's more of just in general, is they have a lot of young players, and they don't have a lot of old players. They have veterans. But anyway, let's move on a little bit and let's get to tonight.
All right.
I know we're gonna have different opinions on this, but who's gonna win and what's gonna be the score?
Where is it gonna be?
At the Garden.
All right. I could say that it's gonna be, if the Rangers win, it'll be in overtime. I say a shootout. It'll be, I don't know what the score will be, but I know it'll be in overtime.
What do you think?
Realistically, 2-2.
2-2?
Yeah.
So 3-2 Rangers.
Yes. But
overtime or a shootout?
Shootout.
Okay.
But it's the Islanders. And I'm not saying that saying that to disrespect you. I'm actually saying that to compliment you. Because every time the Rangers and the Islanders go at it,
the Islanders always win.
Yes.
And
yes, I'll admit that. But it's also a playoff environment.
Yeah.
It's always a playoff environment. Yeah. But the thing is, you guys swept us last year. Mm-hmm. The year before that, you guys beat us, what, 4 to 2 games?
Every single time the Islanders lose to the Rangers, it's always at home. They never lose at the Garden.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say 4-3 in regulation.
Okay.
I think that's more of a.
That seems realistic.
Reasonable.
That seems really realistic.
Because 2 goals each seems a little low.
That's the thing.
Because there's always a lot of goals scored when the 2 teams play each other.
True, but it is also the first game.
That's true.
That's my thing. It's not going to be like, because
but
remember,
4-3 though is not a lot of goals.
It's not a lot of goals, but it's a decent amount of goals. Yeah. But 2-2 seems reasonable to me because it's the first season. Like, these are 2 playoff contending teams, which I want to talk about in a minute. Yeah. And they need time to gel. So I think it's going to be 2-2.
So I'm saying 4-3 in regulation. You're saying
3-2
Rangers and shootout.
Yeah.
All right, we'll talk about this next week. But let's do predictions for this year.
Okay.
So let's just talk about the Metro Division. So I think it's going to be the Capitals, the Penguins, the Islanders, and again, this is not biased.
I know.
The Flyers, and then the Rangers for the 2 wild cards. What do you think about that? Obviously, it's all the Metro Division.
Yeah.
I don't think the Atlantic Division really is that good outside of like the Lightning, the Panthers, Detroit. Maybe you can throw Boston or Montreal in there, but those are more of, the upcoming teams.
I see.
And Boston's, of course, declining.
Surprisingly, I will see Boston taking the second wild card spot, with the Rangers taking the first wild card spot. I think that the Penguins are going to take the President's Trophy. And honestly, when it comes to the East, I really can't think of anyone else other than what you're saying because it's, like you said, it's normally the Metropolitan Division.
Mm-hmm. For the President's Trophy, I think the Sharks. I think the Sharks, they had a great season last year. Yeah. I don't think I think the Capitals are a great team. I think they're going to win the Cup.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Nashville.
Okay.
But I don't think that the Sharks really, because the President's Trophy winner never wins the Cup. It's very, very rare that it happens.
That's true.
And I think the Sharks will make it to the final round, and I think the Preds will beat them because the Nationals are actually a really, really good team.
Yes, but they're kind of like the Washington Nationals.
They do really well and then just choke.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I guess it's just a Washington thing.
I guess. Well, this is Nashville, not Washington.
Oh, you said Nashville. I'm sorry.
Said Capitals. I said Capitals over Nashville.
I was talking about
But yeah, they
Capitals.
do always choke in the playoffs.
Yeah. With the Western, I do see the Sharks. I don't see the Kings making it. I see it being the Sharks, the Blackhawks, trying to think of the other teams. The Wild I can see, but the Blues
are a good team, and
they're a good
There
team.
were a couple of seasons ago where they actually were supposed to win the Cup.
Yeah.
I don't think they're as good as that, but they have Tarasenko is. You want to talk about goal scorers? He's elite.
That's true.
He's up there in the top 5 with Ovechkin and Crosby.
Okay. I can see that.
All right. Well, anyway, it looks like that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for watching. I'm Josh Butensky.
Moses Nunez Jr.
We'll see you next week.